Simon here from Empirical Health, and today I'm talking about Zhong Wan, a simple but highly effective formula in clinic, and it tastes really nice too. Zhong Wan, originally called Xiaobupitang, the minor supplementing spleen decoction, from chapter 3, line 11 in the Fuxing Jui Zhangfu Yong Yao Fa Yao, written by Tao Hongqing around 500 AD. So in this text he states formulas that treat non-transformation of food, occasional spontaneous vomiting or diarrhea, or incessant vomiting and diarrhea, are suffering from hunger in the heart region, and there may be glommus and fullness below the heart. The pulse is faint and forceless. There is generalized heaviness, wilting of the legs, and frequent cramping. And there's a lot of information in this line, and that we can learn a lot from. But in the Zhang in the Shanhan Lun, in line 386, elaborates on that. So when in sudden turmoil there is headache, heat effusion and generalized pain, there is more heat and the patient desires to drink water, then Wuling Sun governs. But if there is more cold and the patient does not drink water, Zhong Wan governs. So sudden turmoil is retching, vomiting and diarrhea. And Zhang goes on to talk about the other version of this same formula in the Jingwei Yaowei called Renshen Tang. This is effectively the same formula but in decoction, with slight variations from the original Xiaobupitang, which I'll go into in just a second. So chapter 9, line 5 says, for chest impediment, this is in Jingwei, for chest impediment with glommus in the heart, abiding qi, binding in the chest, fullness in the chest, and counterflow under the rib side, prodding the heart, Jushishu by Guijitang governs. Renshen Tang also governs. So they were the lines, but now what's in the formula? So you have Renshen, Zhegan Sao, Ganjiang, and Baiju, each at 3 liang, so equal parts in pill form. You pound and sieve, and then you mix with honey to make pills about the size of a chicken's egg yolk. Use several gur, so each gur is about 20 mils, so you use 3 gur, 60 mils or so. Crush the pill and you mix it with warm water. You take 3 or 4 times a day and twice at night. If there is still no heat in the abdomen, you can increase the dose and take up to 3 or 4 more pills. So a couple of things here. Originally the dose in the Fuxing Jui was a dose of only 1 liang of Baiju to 3 liang of the others. But Zhang in both Zhong Wan and Renshen Tang used 3 liang of Baiju and 3 liang of the other herbs. Also, the formulas Xiaobupitang and Renshen Tang are decoctions and not pills. Zhang even mentions that the formula works better as a decoction, and this is definitely true in severe cases of sudden turmoil. However, as a pill is mixed with as we mix the pill into the hot water and we crush it up, we have a very similar effect. As well as this, when you take a large pill like this in hot water, you drink it down with hot, it's like a heat bomb going off in your stomach, and you'll know all about it. So we find it very effective in clinic. And also as a pill, it's available when you need it or when your patient needs it, because when your patient's vomiting and retching, they really don't feel like cooking up herbs on the stove for a couple of hours. Now, we went to crazy lengths to find out how big this egg yolk was in the Han Dynasty, and I won't bore you with the details at the moment. You're just going to have to take my word for it that when I say a Han Dynasty egg yolk was approximately, or pretty accurately, 23 millimeters. Yeah. So we had a machine made up for us with those specifications just for this pill. However, we found that by making it in a smaller pill, it was great for children, or for patients that don't need this level of tonification in cases of chronic issues, when a gentler dose over a longer period of time is needed. You can modify this dose as well as you need, much quicker. We also make a version with Dangshen in replace of Renshen, because the Dangshen is the Renshen is unaffordable for a lot of people. And as you know, Dangshen is the poor man's Renshen. When it comes to the quality of each of these herbs, there are some huge differences in what you can use. the biggest one being Renshin. As I mentioned, we also have Dangshin to replace the Renshin, as Renshin can go from $30 a kilo up to $250,000 for just one plant. But we encourage practitioners to use the Renshin. We find it works a lot better and it's more in line with the classics. And there seems to be a nature of warmth that actually is exacerbated with a cool herb, which is just phenomenal. So maybe this is because it's mixed with Ganjang. The quality of Renshin is based on many factors, but the one most practitioners are concerned about is the length of time it's been in the ground. So we use a minimum of 3-year-old plants in our formulas. This is a way to keep the price affordable to most patients and the quality high enough to have substantial levels of ginsenoside in the herb. If they are rushed into production using fertilizers, then you are just going to end up with a pretty inferior formula, and it's as simple as that. Then we have the Zhegansao Ganjang and Baiju. With the Ganjang and Baiju, in modern Chinese agricultural methods, both of these herbs are put into bleach to retain the colour, as well as to protect them from insects and borers and things like that. So this is obviously not what you want to be giving your patients. As well as this, they're grown on large-scale farms using high levels of fertilizer, herbicides and pesticides, as well as being shown to contain heavy metals. Clearly we do not want to do that sort of thing. So we've sourced the very highest grade herbs that are completely free of any fertilizers, herbicides, heavy metals for our formulas. And you can be certain that this is our top priority in all of our formulas. Of course, getting the right herb and the right dose is also very, very high in our list of things to do. But each herb in our formula has been batch tested by Eurofern in Germany or has the ACO, which is the Australian Certified Organic Approval. It's a tie-in formula. Or is it a tie-in formula? We consider it a tie-in formula, but why? Because it has herbs in used in tie-in pathologies, or is there such thing as a tie-in herb? I think it's because it's the line about resolution times. So each of the 6 confirmations has a resolution time, and as Zhang Zhongjing differentiates the pattern of sudden turmoil out of Yang Ming, the next channel or confirmation is tie-in. In the confirmation times, of course. So Yang Ming is 3 to 9 p.m. and tie-in is 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. So therefore we can use double the dose for that period. That means that whatever dose you're using, you need to double it during the period to allow the condition to resolve. This is what he means by resolution time, the time that the confirmation resolves, of course, right? Zhong Wan is a formula for people who are deficient. Remember, Tao Hong Ching said faint and forceless pulse, wilting of the legs and frequent cramping. Women who eat raw veggies every day and wake up and have a juice or go to Boost Juice. If you think Boost Juice, think Zhong Wan. If you think naturopath, think Zhong Wan. So they're typically quite thin and look otherwise pretty healthy, but you feel their pulse and, So for young girls who are on oral contraceptive or women trying to get off it who are having trouble conceiving, there's no blood from the middle jiao to generate healthy conception. So this can certainly help there. As well as these children who don't have adequate diets and are cold, frail and emaciated. These people are often obsessed with diet and exercise and being healthy, but they just aren't. So we bring it back to the masters of the medicine. Tao Hong Ching said faint and forceless pulse. So that's really what you're looking for. Zhang Zhongjing elaborated on this pulse in the chest spine chapter, the chapter that contains Renshin Tang, when he said, the master said, in pulse diagnosis, take excess and deficiency as the measure. So when yang pulses are faint, yang pulses are above the guan, and yin pulses are wiry, the yin pulses below the guan, this means chest impediment and pain. The reason for this can be attributed to extreme vacuity there. We now know that the yang vacuity is in the upper burner, causing chest impediment, and heart pain because the yin pulses are wiry. And when he uses yin pulses here, he talks about the Xian Mai. That's the character. We translate it as wiry nowadays. So you're looking for a faint and forceless pulse all over, with faint pulses in the suns and wiry pulses below the guans. This is a very typical pulse to see in these types of patients that I mentioned earlier. So when you see these patients and you feel that pulse, you can be very confident that Li Zhong Wan will dramatically help their condition. I wish you the very best in your diagnosis, and if you have any questions, you can join our Facebook group and ask them there. If you want to purchase any of our amazing pills and powders, you can just follow the link below, and we'll see you next time.